What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a test hand combo video for the Yubel Unchained profile I showed you all the other day. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to do some randomized test hands to show you exactly what the deck can do going first and second, and I'll bring you as much detail as possible, taking you through all of the different plays and the different types of interaction that you'll be able to present and play through. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. After a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our starting hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so straight off the bat we've actually got a really good combo in the form of the Geist Grinder Golem and of course the Spirit of Yubel. Now on its own, this is the basic Yubel combo because this will give us give our opponent Geist Grinder Golem, which is actually really nice because it means that our opponent then cannot imperm us, lightning storm us, or evenly match us while we leave it on the board. If we do get access into our Unchained engine, it also guarantees that there is a special summon monster on our opponent's board that we can then use to link fuse with in order to go into, off the back of the Unchained Soul of Rage, to go into an SP Little Knight. Now you can very easily, at this exact moment in time, activate Pot of Prosperity. Personally, what I'm going to try and do is I would use Spirit of Yubel first to give our opponent Grinder Golem, just so that I can deck fin of exactly what I need, and then I can activate Pot of Prosperity, maximizing my chances to get access to something like a Samsara D Lotus, or of course what would be a little bit more ideal is a Dark Beckoning Beast. So by resolving the Spirit of Yubel first, we're going to go for the Nightmare Pain. Now you can very easily, if you want to get into the Samsara D Lotus, activate the Nightmare Pain now to destroy the Spirit of Yubel. The only difference is if you do it this way, you won't have a guaranteed access to Super Poly, and you won't have guaranteed access to like your way of being able to contact fuse the board to get into your Yubel monster, if you decide to go for the Samsara D Lotus. Now you can, before you activate the Nightmare Pain's effect to destroy the Spirit of Yubel, yes, it would deck fin you by 1 because it would get you Yubel from the deck, which is really nice. But it then also still gives you the option to activate Pot of Prosperity now to look at the top 6 cards of your deck and then choose one of the cards that may be missing, meaning that you don't need to use Nightmare Pain to get you the exact outcome. Now, just because it will allow us to net deck 2, I'm going to be able to Nightmare Pain, destroy the Spirit of Yubel, and this will then guarantee to give me Yubel on the board, as well as being able to search out a card. Now, personally, just for pure safety, so that even if I do whiff off the back of the Pot of Prosperity, I still have the ability to fuse with my opponent's board. Off of Nightmare Pain, I'm going to go for Eternal Favourite, because I will guarantee to have Yubel on the board. I just need another card that can be tributed to make sure that Yubel doesn't destroy herself. And again, if I whiff off the back of Prosperity, I will then risk the ability of normal summoning Ash Blossom for that to happen. Now, keep in mind when you do actually look at the hand trap combination in the hand, Ash and Droll do annoyingly clash. So again, you'd probably hold on to the one you feel is going to be most effective in this particular matchup, which, as it currently stands, Droll will probably be better because it has a lingering effect, rather than trying to use Ash Blossom at the perfect time to stop my opponent. So now that we've shuffled up, I'm now going to activate the Pot of Prosperity, and then I'm going to reveal 6 from the extra deck. Now usually the 6 I would go for will be dependent on what I feel that I'm going to face. Now if I feel that I can't get into DD High Wave King Caesar, I would get rid of that. If I feel that because I've got Yubel set up play, I'm not going to want to Super Poly into Garura, Starving Venom, I'd get rid of those. Get rid of Relinquish Anima. You could arguably get rid of Mud Dragon. You can get rid of the Super Dreadnought Cow, Juggernaut Libel. And then you could probably get rid of a second Yama if you want to as well. So you've got loads of different options to kind of choose from. It really comes down to your personal options of what you'd want to get rid of. But these would be like some of my top picks. And then it's whether you want to get rid of the second Yubel, Love and Defender or not. Personally, I wouldn't. I would like to keep both of those options open because then at least you've got a guarantee to always have a Super Poly target. So Terra Incarnate, not that great. Imperm, not so great. Super Poly, not so bad. Another Super Poly, a Pot of Prosperity, and an Unchained Soul Shavara. Okay, this is interesting. I mean, I can get into my Unchained cards, which isn't the worst ideas. It's just being able to crack back off of the back of it, really. Target a theme monster or a face down card you control. Destroy it, and if you do, special summon. When this card is destroyed, except by its own effect, special summon Yubel Terra Incarnate. I mean, honestly, I've already got access to Super Poly. My only issue, if I decide to destroy the Yubel here, is that I then need to try and loop to get it back to the board, and I'm only ever really going to be using the Terra Incarnate as just general fodder. I'm definitely not going to take the second pot of Prosperity. I don't need to take 2 Super Polys, and I'm definitely not going to take an Imperm. I'm not going to take the Terra Incarnate either. So my options are either Super Poly, which is fine, but I'm just going to burn through so much of my hand resource that it kind of seems redundant. So I feel that Shavara is probably the best option off of the back of that. As this then currently stands, you'd probably go Unchained Soul Shavara to destroy the Yubel and summon it down. Then trigger Yubel's effect to get you Terra Incarnate from the deck. Still need a way to get Yubel back from the graveyard, which is doable. You also need to get the other Unchained monster to the grave as well, which is a bit of a pain in the backside. I think this is going to be a very long route of trying to get this to work. So we'll link those two together. We'll go into our Yama. Yama's effect will trigger, as will the Unchained Soul of Shavara. So Shavara will set us the trap card, which will be our Abominable Chamber. And then off of the back of that, we'll also then be able to add, wherever it may be, our Unchained Soul Shayama. Now, Shayama is better off being in the graveyard. But we've got no way of discarding it directly in order to do that. I could... it's really annoying that I can't get this back into the deck. There are times when I'm like, I really want to play another Unchained to do that. Because what I can see happening is, let's say we go normal summon Ash. We'll link Ash with the Yama together. These will then get us into our Muckcracker. We can use Muckcracker's effect, discard the Shayama. This would then allow us to revive a fiend from the graveyard, so you bring back Yubel. You can then use the Shayama's effect to destroy the chamber, which annoyingly doesn't get us anywhere. Like, it doesn't get us an extension because annoyingly Shavara's in the graveyard. But this will let us bring back the Shayama. In doing so, we could use Yama's effect here to bring back the Shavara. Then you've got 2 options. Now, you can link these in to get the Rage. And then you've got your fodder off the back of Yubel to destroy this during the end phase to make sure Yubel stays around. Or you can make the DDD rank 6 and then you use Yubel to tribute off the Muckcracker in order to keep it on the board. Which again isn't the end of the world. The only downside off of the back of Eternal Favourite is we're going to lose the draw in the hand. So we're not gaining as much hand resource as we possibly would have liked. I mean, you could... Shayama doesn't give us the max potential either, because Shayama could destroy the Yubel, and then all you're doing is you're floating Yubel into the Terra Incarnate, which isn't that great either. So it's a bit of a disappointment. Like, it would have been great if we could trigger off the trap card, but unfortunately we couldn't. So, as this currently stands, it's basically Rage and Yubel Fusion, or DDD and Yubel Fusion. Which, I mean, it's not bad, but the fact that we've lost our entire hand doesn't make it the greatest either, which is a little bit disappointing. Again, this is another one where you probably would have liked the Samsara D Lotus to come into rotation. That would have been kind of nice, because then at least if that came into rotation, you'd guarantee to get that back at the end phase, which means you don't lose anything off the back of Yubel. So, I'm not sure. I mean, on this example, just for the sake of it, I suppose we'd go DDD, and then you'd go end phase, have to destroy the Muckcracker, because you don't really want to destroy the DDD. And then rather than trying to contact fuse with your opponent, you'd probably leave Yubel and attack, because they're forced to attack Yubel where you've got it. You'd probably go it here and that way, and then you've got 2 negates over the back of High Wave King rather than a... But I suppose if you go for Rage, you get a link off plus a banish, well, technically plus like 2 banishes. So maybe that would have been a better idea. Either way, as soon as your opponent starts to threaten the board, you can then activate Eternal Favourite. Definitely fuse off the Golem and get you into Yubel, the Loving Defender. Unfortunately, you do lose the draw, which is the biggest issue when you're trying to burn through your resource. I mean, this isn't the most intimidating end board. So I suppose one that would have regained more resource in general would have been Rage. So you'd go Rage, link that into your SP Little Knight, and then at least your SP Little Knight would have got a banner. You would have got a link off with the Rage. You would have got an SP Little Knight banish on summon, then a banish when they activate an effect. Then you've got the ability to go into Yubel, the Loving Defender, as well, and it would at least guarantee that SP Little Knight floats back to the board for you. And then you've got 2 Dark Monsters on the board that can be tributed off of the back for Nightmare Pain to get everything back into circulation as well. So yeah, okay, I mean, wasn't the most broken, but wasn't the worst. Like, I suppose that's the issue, is when you're juggling both of these, it's all about consistency to get to where you want it to be. And your ideal scenario is opening up your 2 free odds, which is your Samsara D Lotus and of course your Dark Beckoning Beast. The Dark Beckoning just lets you get so much more advantage off of the back of it, but because that's the way you can guarantee to get your hand discards, because you've got the ability to loop continuous spells, you've got the ability to get an additional monster to the board as well without needing to. I mean, in that one we used our normal summon on Ash, which is like Anyway, let's go again. So shuffle up, cut up, hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, okay, it's a little bit more interesting. Okay, so we don't get the special summon off the back of Spirit, which is a little bit disappointing. But we do have loads of ways of destroying Spirit, which is quite nice. I guess we kind of have to do, or we try to go down the route. I mean, I suppose I don't need to search out the spell and trap because I've got Nightmare Pain and I've already got Super Poly. So activating Nightmare Pain, destroying Spirit of Yubel in order to add. And on this one, I'd probably add the Samsara. In doing so, I can then trigger Spirit's effect to give me original Yubel. And then at least this way, I can go normal Samsara, tribute off Samsara. Oh, actually, before we do that, the only reason you would do this first before that is if you normal summon Samsara, do its effect, but off of Pot of Prosperity, you reveal Dark Beckoning Beast, you'd actually lose advantage because you wouldn't be able to get that additional normal summon. So, really? Again? Where's my Dark Beckoning Beast? Come on, bro. Oh, my days. These pot mills are killing me. I guess we take Mature Chronicle. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. But at least we can start gaining some counters off the back of this. Normal summon down Samsara. Tribute off Samsara. Get Spirit from the deck. Spirit can then get you access to... I mean, you can go for the Geist Grinder if you want to. Oh, no, you can't. We'll go for Eternal Favourite. We will, of course, get 1 token off the back of Mature Chronicle, which isn't the end of the world. That's actually pretty decent. We can use Mature Chronicle once we link Yubel off to add that. So I suppose we can now start going into our Unchained cards, would be a good idea. So let's put these 2 together. Let's go into Yama. Yama's effect will search us out our Red Doggo, whatever it may be. Shavara. We technically have 2 forms of Super Poly, which is a little bit like, is it really worth it? But I suppose it kind of is. And then what we can do here is we'll take away the Chronicle, one off the Chronicle to bring back the Yubel. Use Shavara's effect to tribute off the Yubel or destroy the Yubel. Yubel's effect to give us Terror Incarnate, which gives us a good position right here. And then what we can do is we can actually link these both together. Obviously this would still get a counter, but you can only take them off once per turn. Get us into Muckcracker, use Muckcracker's effect, discard Shayama, bring back Yubel, and obviously trigger off Shavara as well, gives us the trap card. Again, this is the issue. I probably want to go for, do I want to go for the other chamber, the other trap card? Is that going to be more effective for you in the long run? Okay, so as this currently stands, we've got the ability of Shayama to destroy. So you'd go Shayama to destroy Yubel. This would then float into Terra Incarnate. But then we need another way to get Yubel back from the graveyard. And I don't think there's a way to do that. So maybe I've gone not without destroying the Yama. And the only way we get the Yama into the graveyard. I suppose it's not so bad. Link both of those together, go into Rage. And then use Shyama's effect to destroy. This is the issue with the chamber. It's like, okay, destroy the chamber. Doesn't do anything, but just allows us to trigger Yama's effect. And now again, you're either going for Yubel. I suppose this is a better end board though, because you'd go for Yubel. You could go for this and get the DDD, but you've got your plays for Yubel, so you might as well do that. This would then put the Chronicle up to 2. You would set, personally I'm setting Super Poly. I think it's just so much stronger than the Eternal Favourite. And then in the end phase, Samsara would come back. You tribute off the Samsara. But to be honest, because you've got Muckracker on the board and you've got Shyama, you could just add back the Lotus, so you've got to play for the next turn, and then tribute off the Shyama. I mean, it doesn't make much of a difference either way. And then at least you've got 2 cards to discard, so if you wanted to, you could keep the Eternal Favourite for the next turn. You could have it set, to be honest. So then what you do is you'd pass your opponent's turn, and then during your opponent's turn, what you've got the ability for now is again the same as last time. You've just added a Muckracker and a bit more resource in the hand. So you'd contact fuse or link with your opponent's monsters to go into SP Little Knight. This would then obviously banish 1 card on the field. And then if your opponent activates an effect, you can SP Little Knight, dodge that out to protect. And then you've got the ability to activate the Super Poly. The Super Poly would ditch either Samsara, D-Lotus, or the Eternal Favourite. During the end phase, if you control Yubel and this card's in the graveyard, I suppose we will be controlling. Is it specifically Yubel? It has to be Yubel. Not even a Yubel monster. That's disappointing. I guess we get rid of the Eternal Favourite, so we guarantee a start for the next turn. You go into those. Mature Chronicle will go up to 3 now. So as it currently stands, we've got the ability to special summon Yubel back from the grave, which is absolutely fine during our turn. Or if we can get 2 more on the board, we can add a Super Poly, which we'll get off of the back of Samsara D-Lotus. So again, we're in a good position. I'm just going to play this through just so you can kind of see how much further this can go. So SP Little Knight will of course come back to the board during the end phase, as well will one of your opponent's monsters, which is again fine because you can attack it with Yubel and then do damage. We'll draw for turn, doesn't matter what it is, so Ash Blossom is completely fine. Normal summon Samsara, tribute off the Samsara to get us our Spirit. Keep in mind we haven't even used Pain yet, so we would get our Spirit. You can then use Pain to destroy Spirit in order to add, so we will add... We've pretty much got everything we need, haven't we? I mean, you could go for Geist Grinder. Spirit of Yubel's effect will trigger, giving you Yubel. So this puts this up to 4. And now what we kind of want to do is destroy Yubel. Now, I've got to remember as well, Shyama actually goes back to the bottom of the deck, just as a note. There we go. And then it really is up to you, because you could very easily link off these cards to move your way into the second Yama. Yama can then add back that Shyama again. It really depends if you want to try and get this up to 5 or not. At the moment, we can remove 4, destroy a card on the field, or I can just link climb higher. Do I need to link climb higher? Probably not, actually. I could probably very easily go like this into Yama. Yama's effect goes off to give me Shyama. I could then remove a counter from this, putting it down to 3, bringing back Yubel, putting it back up to 4. And I've basically what I've done is I've net backed the Shyama. I mean, this is going to attack and then do damage to our opponent because we've got Nightmare Pain. So is Yubel. And keeping in mind, they still have that one monster that we've brought back with our own SP Little Knight. So as long as you attack with these 2 first, you're going to get more damage on the board. Not to mention, you still have the Shyama as well. If you can get this to the graveyard, you can pop cards, bring it back. So you're in an okay position. At the worst case scenario, if you really want this to the graveyard, you could very easy tribute off. I know, really, really random on that one. Tribute that off. I suppose you kind of need some more link monsters. But either way, the idea would be you're just trying to get this to the board. So you can now use Shyama's effect to destroy Yubel. Yubel's effect will trigger, brings back Terra Incarnate. Like, yeah! So again, you're in an okay position because then as you've destroyed that to bring back Terra Incarnate, you can use the second Yama in the graveyard. This can then bring back Shavara. This is just if you want to, like you don't have to be doing any of this. Overlay that, go into DDD, just guarantee it. And then again, this should be enough for game, but you're probably better off. Yeah, so you still get the damage off of the back of Terra Incarnate, you still get the damage off of the back of Loving Defender, and then you've got a 28 in for game and a 16 in for game as well. So, yeah, I mean, the deck's fine. I do enjoy it. I think it's only going to get better in the future. The issue is, I think, for this particular build, and this is what I want to kind of do a little bit more, is just give a full breakdown of my thoughts on it. The more and more I test decks, the more and more I go, okay, maybe that isn't working, maybe that isn't as great. I feel that the deck is lacking either a third Unchained monster, which would be the one that pops when it summons from hand, or you could arguably just cut the Unchained engine down to one card and just play the Shyama. Because you really are relying, in both those test stands, we never saw access, which is 6 cards, by the way, and 2 Pot Prosperities we went through. We never saw access to our Dark Beckoning engine. But if you get access to that, that just makes the whole Unchained engine more accessible, and then it makes the overall outcome better as well. And then when you're adding a Samsara D Lotus to it, again, it just gets better and better. So there's a lot to kind of consider with the deck. I don't feel that this is the best build of the deck. I think there are better builds out there for it. I do quite like the Dogmatica, because what that allows you to do is it doesn't rely on so many different, like your Dark Beckoning Beast can get hit by Imperms, Veilers, Ashes, whereas with Nadir can only really get hit with Ashes. Again, I'm not sure if that's the best version of the deck, but I still quite like it. So it's just kind of deciding which version of the deck you prefer. I also got suggested the Abyss Actor Super Producer, and the reason for this is just another way of popping one of your cards, which is another way of trying to trigger Yubel and your Unchained monsters. So I do want to try this out and consider it to see how it works in the deck. So again, I'll test it out, see how it works, and then go back from there. Anyway, I hope this kind of give you a bit of an idea. I've tried to give my thought process. Like, this is basically providing you a video with the inner monologue of a player when they're playing the deck out, which I don't think you always get sometimes. Sometimes you're like, oh, why have they done that? Their thought process and my thought process is not always going to be perfect. So what it allows me to do is it allows me to explain my thought process behind the type of plays I'm making. When you guys watch it, you'll be like, oh, well, you could have done this better, and you can provide constructive feedback. I'll be like, oh, yeah, I didn't see that route of play, and then learn and adapt from it, as well as other people watching the video as well. They can go, oh, that's what I can do with Yubel, or that's what my opponent may try and do with Yubel. This is how I can counter it, or, oh, cool, because I've read that comment, I now know what else they might try and do. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.